For most of these reps, he's going to be the right tackle. There are some reps where they run tackle oversets, and he's actually next to the left tackle. But for most of this review, he's going to be on the right side right here, number 79. So let's get into the review. Let's watch him. Okay. So some of these plays are gonna be relatively simple. And again, I tend to be a little bit record happy at the beginning, but what I do like from him here is one, and you see this through the entire review that I do, is he's very active with his overlap technique, which is basically him just tagging this guard next to him, saying that, hey, I am moving inside. I'll pick up the picker, the looper, whatever it may be in that situation. But right off the jump, I like the fact that, okay, Membou sees that the D end is crashing inside, looping inside. He's gonna tag that. He's gonna tag that guard overlap technique. Hey, I got the guy who's kind of in your face right now. The other thing I like about this rep is the individual hand usage. Right hand, D end swipes it, moves to the left hand, switches to the left hand, hugs him, anchors down. Now, he does use hug technique, and he uses it in advantageous situations. You don't want to do it when some guy's about to bull you. Obviously, giving up your chest, not ideal. But what I do like about the individual hand usage is the fact that when you do punch with two hands, you're going to lock your hips out. You're not going to be able to kind of redirect your movement as easily. So you're going to want some individual hand usage, and just in general, you want to show some differences or you want to show some variety in terms of individual hand use, double punches, hugs, all that stuff. So again, good eyes, overlap technique, power step into the middle, individual hand use, one into the chest to get swiped, left hand lands. Now it's a situation where, hey, this DN doesn't really have a lot of momentum at this point. There's not a lot of momentum. You don't have to try to get control of the chest. There's not a lot of again forward momentum from him. So now he's just going to grab him, hug technique, and then he automatically hops back into his anchor, lower, nice low hips, working off of both of his insteps right here, and completely shuts down the D end right there. So good play from Membou right off the jump. He's not torquing somebody to the turf or anything like that, but there's quite a few things in that first rep where you're seeing, okay, good eyes, good overlap, good hand usage, good job hopping back into the anchor. So we like all of that. Right tackle right here. Let's watch Membou again. Individual hand usage, or not individual hand usage, trapping that inside hand, obviously burning a guy into the turf. We like that. One of the things with Membou is that you will see one of the weaknesses that I put in this review. And again, obviously, if you're a subscriber, you could subscribe to the website for $5 a month or $3 for just the YouTube, and you get the full review. At the end of the reviews, I give a full list of strengths and weaknesses. One of the weaknesses you do see with Membou, and it doesn't happen all the time, but his outside hand can land high right here, can land high, and you see it right here where it lands onto the shoulder. Now, obviously, this DN forks it up, so it completely comes off. But in general, even right here, it lands high, so you're not going to get as much control of the guy's chest. You're not going to be as strong if your hand is here versus here. Obviously, you want the pec, you want the outside pec with that outside hand. So hand lands a little bit high. Now he doesn't have good control with that outside hand. What I do like though is, hey, listen, this is not the best spot to be in for a tackle, but how do you adjust? Every play is not going to work out perfectly. His hand is being controlled. The D end has control of the chest with his right hand into Membou's chest as well. So now Membou is going to trap that hand. You see the shoulder motion right there. Comes down, chops that arm down. Obviously, a lot of the balance of the D end is in that hand, pushing Membou back. But it's like, lean on your wall with a lot of your momentum a lot of your lean into your wall. If you chop your elbow down, you're gonna fall. You're gonna headbutt that wall. So really good idea from Membou. Again, not great hand placement initially, but it feels his chest being controlled with that long arm, chops it down, and then sits on top of the D end right there. Obviously a good rep, right? Every rep's not going to be completely ideal. Your hand lands into the outside pec. Your left hand lands into the ribs, into the shoulder. You sink down, you anchor, you get into your bridge. Like every rep's not going to work like that. So how do you adjust? And that's a rep of him adjusting again, feeling that control in his chest and chopping down on that control, and obviously throwing the D end off balance right there. So Membou square to second level, smart torque. Okay, the right tackle right here. All right, so we have an outside zone behind Membou right there. And again, not a play where it's anything crazy. And does he actually bury him at the end right there? Okay, yeah, he torques him or he torques him to the turf, which is obviously good. We like that, but the what I like initially is one, the controlled lateral steps from Membou, right? If he's going to take his lateral steps at zone, he's not completely assigned to that D end. If that D end stays inside, guess what? Obviously, he's going to pass it off to the guard. What I do like about it is one, staying square to the second level threat. He gets his hand on to stuff him inside to the guard, right? You don't want to just completely leave the first level and race out to the second level because the second level guy's not there yet. So he does a good job of getting lateral. Again, keeping his hips square to the second level threat, right? You don't want to overcommit to the first level. There's plenty of guys right here who would take lateral steps, turn their hips into the D end, and then they wouldn't be able to get outside on the linebacker. So it's a good job of getting lateral. Again, just checking him left hand into the shoulder, letting one taking away momentum, obviously, and just helping out the guard, stuffing him inside. Comes off with good timing, gets both hands on the linebacker. Now again, ideally, like on a DN on D tackle, you're gonna get at least one hand controlling the chest. When you get to the second level, you can grab those shoulder pads of a linebacker because I'm sure Membo has 80 pounds in this guy. If this guy controls his chest, who cares? You want more contain on the second level, more control. Shoulders are nice control of the guy. So he does that. Obviously, the running back runs right behind him. Linebacker tries to get over the top, and at this point, Membo just buries him. Uses that core strength, uses the core strength under the armpit, torques him to the turf, lays on him. Make him feel it a little bit. So another good rep from Membou to start off this review. Again, good feet, good patience, good job keeping the eyes up, the hips square, all of that. Really, really good. To start this review. Or a really few good plays to start this review. Membou torque the turf on the left side. Okay, so now we have this tackle overset that I was talking about right here from pistol. He's right here. So another situation, they're running outside zone right behind Membou. Another play where he's burning a guy into the turf, and it's a situation where again he's getting lateral. Um, he's getting lateral and just reading this D end. If this D end crashes a little bit inside, it's going to be a combo to the back right here. But because this D end expands with Membou, Membu's going to take him on fully. We can see the guard trying to read that. Obviously, it gets up right to the second level because of the expansion of that D end. D end expands. Okay, it's going to be Membou taking it on fully. We have the left hand into the shoulder, maybe into the chest. It's hard to tell where it lands, but left hand into the chest, right hand into the outer shoulder. Situation where this D end is clearly not the heaviest guy in the world. 240, 250 max. Membou has 80 pounds on him again. It's a situation where, yeah, again, ideally we get one hand to the inside. Maybe he gets one of them inside. It looks like the left is onto the shoulder, right maybe onto the shoulder as well. But Membou has such good core power that with smaller DNs, he's going to be able to do this. Again, land the hands on him, control him. We know that this D end is trying to expand at this point, so we're not going to try to torque him back inside. The running back is going to be reading this block, so Membou wants to define the gap for the running back, right? Make it a pretty clear picture for said running back. So he grabs him again, torques him with that plenty of core power that he has, and then again sit on him, make him feel it. So another really good rep from him. Controlled movement, getting both hands on him, and then just using his just raw power right there to define that gap for that running back. We have another good play from Membou. Membou patient hands, not overset torque. There's very few oversets in this review. I put a few of them in there. It's one of his strengths is the fact that he has really patient feet and he does a really good job of pretty consistently not oversetting the defensive ends. So let's watch right here again, the right tackle. Yeah, and this is something that Campbell doesn't do as much as he should. He doesn't run his feet, and he tends to overset. You can see Membou is explosive out of the stance. This is not even the best example. You'll see plenty of examples of good snap timing, good explosion out of this or off the snap for Membou, but kicks outside, right? You can see that outside foot. What we want it doing is we want that outside foot. And obviously, unless it's like a dart protection where he oversets on purpose and it's a rollout. But in general, generic base sets, we want this outside foot splitting the crotch of the defensive end. And we don't really want to start turning our hips until he's about at our level, maybe half a yard away, we'd start to open our hips. But one of Campbell's problems is oversetting a little bit, getting too vertical and opening the hips up early. Membou is not that guy. He does a really good job with the feet. Again, patience with that foot, splitting it. We could see at first he gets lateral, but then he kind of gets vertical because he does not want to overset. Nice patient hands, right? He's not reaching for contact right here. If he does reach for contact right here, obviously we're gonna have forward lean. The DN preemptively chops that hand down, but Membo doesn't shoot because his hands are patient, right? He's not in that contact window yet. If he does, again, if he does reach for this, he's gonna be lunging. We don't want to lunge. So nice patient hands for Membo, right? Obviously feels the DN now kind of crashing inside to him. Lands the right hand on, nice and low, working off the insteps. I believe he torques him to the turf right here too. Yep, torques him to the turf. Again, really good job getting out of the stance, into a more of a 45-degree set, getting vertical, not oversetting, patient hand, landing it on. Dean's off balance because he was kind of depending on chopping that hand down. Now he's starting to push past Membou. Membou grabs him nice and low. Look at how linear he is with the insteps. Nice tight elbow and just throws him to the ground again. Good 8 plays to start the review. No. Um, Now these get a little bit worse here. This is some of the now we're this is Boston College, right? So now we get into I actually the last play might have been Boston College as well. This play isn't bad. I wasn't honestly even going to record this play, but the next play was pretty bad in the run game, so I decided to just do it because there were back-to-back plays with Membou. This one isn't terrible. What we do see from Membou right here, the right tackle, he's definitely much stronger in the pass game than in the run game. He's similar to Olu in terms of like struggling in the run game, good in the pass game. I would say that they're different in terms of Membou has more physical upside in terms of like power than Fashanu does. Fashanu was more technically refined in the pass game than Membou was, but they're different. They're not the same. Membou has more power. Olu is more technically refined. So right tackle, the next play. This is a play that got a little bit laggy right there. So I'm sorry for that. Yeah, laggy off the jump. But there's some plays where he just has like mental lapses where he's almost like it almost seems like he's indecisive about what he wants to do right here. But off the jump, you have the tight end who's chipping that the DN for Membou. But I want to see Membou kind of close ground right here, and instead of getting his hand onto the back and all that stuff, and kind of being more passive with the hands, we can see as he lands his right hand, there's really not a lot of power into it. His feet are kind of slow and choppy right there. Doesn't really get much of a strong punch on 15, and then 15 ends up making the tackle. We could see like the indecisiveness there. I want to see him really want to take advantage of the chip and jump on and jump on number 15, but runs the feet a little bit too much, not closing ground. And when he does close ground, we could see a pretty weak punch. Doesn't affect the D end at all. The D end ends up just clubbing him and getting past him because he doesn't really have a strong point of contact. He's not really sunken into it. He's not latching on. He's not gaining control of him, and then he ends up tackling the running back. So this is a play where I was like okay, let's be a little bit more decisive there. Let's really take the fight to that D end. Again, my apologies about the first play. Um, I think that is I actually said it recorded 11:26 at night. Maybe I was a little bit too tired. Membou splashed. Okay, so we have him here again, tackle over set number 79. Let's watch. Okay, again, a play where he gets his chest controlled, DN gets in on the tackle, right? Now, one of the things with Membou that we do see is some of the scooping of the hands from low. Now the hands are going to shoot a little bit lower in the run game than in the pass game, but still, you do want more of a direct angle from Membou. Again, we see that they come wide, very low. Now, against, linebackers, safety, stuff like that, you could do this, but you don't want to give DNs the control of your chest like he does right here. So he's splashing the run game. Hand lands, way before Membou's land. Even the right hand lands into the chest basically as Membou's hands are landing. So now his chest is controlled, and when your chest is controlled, you're not going to be able to close what I call tip to tip. It's not the proper terminology, but really what you want to do in the run game is initially get hands on, and then you're going to hopefully, again latch, do that quarter turn, activate the back muscles, and you really want to pull them in. Roll your hips up and through. People talk about getting that contact, rolling the hips up and through, and you really want to lift that defensive end. Here, You're not going to be able to do that when his arm is fully extended and into you. Now we can see he's very high. He's not closing that ground, tip to tip, as I like to call it. Um, the D end is able to shed him, just put on the brakes, arm over, and get him on the tackle, right? So, and the thing you have to do is you have to project, right? Okay, so if number 6 on Florida State is doing this to him, what is Joey Bosa now on the Bills going to do to him? Things like that. So, and obviously there's development, right? All that stuff. But he does struggle more in the run game. Again, why? Just the hand shooting a little bit late, low, wide. Okay. Um, this is one of the strengths he does have. He does use the cuff technique, which I do like for sure. We'll see. Or I'll show you what the cuff technique is here. So we have the right tackle right here. It's number 79 again. Okay, so this is play action. So he's jump setting, just giving the illusion of the offensive line to the linebackers, safeties, corners, whoever else that they're going to be. Run setting right here again, laggy at the end. I actually figured out one of the problems I have. One, some of the film I got was laggy. Two, my coaxial cable, like the thing to tighten it fell off. So my coaxial cable is not tight. I'm moving out of this house, and by the time you guys have watched this, a week or two. But for me, uh, 2 weeks, about 2 weeks from now. So the coaxial cable will get tighter, and I'm actually going to run a Ethernet cord right to my computer, so I have better connection. But right here, what I like from him is obviously a few things, right? So we have the jump set. We have the jump set. Now, again, the more momentum the D end has, the less you want to use that hug technique. Obviously, and the stronger he is, the less you want to use the hug technique. You don't want to give you don't want to give your chest up specifically to a guy who has momentum, who's very strong. You're going to get destroyed. When you jump a guy and that guy does not have a lot of forward momentum, you could start to hug a little bit more, right? So he jumps him. The hands don't land at this point, so he figures, okay, there's not a lot of momentum. I'm gonna hug him. The hands land inside. Now this is what we call this is what a cuff technique is. Now the one hand doesn't land, but really what a cuff technique is when a guy has control over your chest. Let's say he's bull rushing you into your chest. You're just going to go over top with both your hands and just chop down those arms. It's called a tough cuff technique. So it's like a double trap. Um, like a double trap. So good cuff technique here. Again, land the hands, smack the arms down, cuff them down, knocks both the hands off. Now it's a thing where, okay, the D end is trying to push past him vertically and bend this corner to get to the quarterback. So Membou lends his right hand, hard to see exactly where. Now, how is he going to move him past the quarterback's level? And he really has two options here. What he could do is what he does is land the hand onto the hip and push him up the arc, or he could use something what we call a wrench technique. If he was to take the left hander here, put it onto the small of the back, and just basically push both hands, and it completely straightens out the D end. He's not going to be able to rush. Or you could do what he does. Again, land the hand into the hip, the small of the back, and just drive him past the quarterback's level. One nice tight elbow angle, driving him past the quarterback's level, driving him past the quarterback's level. Obviously, now he tries to put on the brakes and get back to the quarterback, so he starts to be off balance. And you're gonna have Membou who just gently places him into the ground. So really, again, really good with the jump set, patient hands, land them, double cuff, drive the hip. Like you see how smooth that is for him. Like there's no hesitation. Get the hand on there. Nope. Okay. Hug, cuff, drive the hip. All really, really good from Membou on that one. This is another example of like one of those like mental lapses that he does have. And by the way, I think this review is 48 plays, if I'm not mistaken. But right here. Okay, so a thing where this play he gives up a pressure. Um, and he's really good laterally, so I'm not sure why he hesitates right here. I want to see him get back inside here quicker. So he obviously takes the first step of his set. The D end immediately is showing, okay, drive off of that left foot. At this point, and obviously there's a blitz, he's trying to draw him inside to let 7 come off the edge cleanly. But if this is your assignment and you see him, starting to get to the inside, just like in the pass, well, it is the pass game, but looks more like a run. But in general, okay, we want to keep that inside out relationship. We do not want him to be inside of us at all. So once he starts to get inside like that, or to show his momentum going to the inside, immediately get back to the inside. Immediately, he hesitates a little bit. Tries to land his hand before really getting lateral. He gets lateral, but it's not quick enough. The D end rips the arm. And yeah, the ball is out, so I don't know if it counts as an actual pressure. Like on PFF stat sheet is a pressure because he's 4 yards away. When the quarterback throws the ball, maybe not. But what I can tell you is you want to see him get back to you want to see him be a little bit more decisive there. You can see the lag. He's explosive enough to fire back inside there. Trust me. Now, if this was just his lack of athleticism, then okay, it is what it is. Like the guy did, it is what it is there. But he's fast enough where he can get back inside right there. So a little bit of a mental lapse. I want to see him immediately get inside out there once he sees the outside plant of the D end. Membou splashed. Okay, right tackle.